Namaste. I hope you're well. I am excited to interview our new ambassador, Sally Parkes, in the UK today. Sally has been a yoga teacher for a long time, especially focusing on female students' needs. I'm very excited to learn about her focus, her journey with yoga and beyond. And we have an amazing event also with Sally. So her personal journey and professional journey as a yoga teacher, especially female focused training and therapy. Hi, Sally.
Hi, we connected.
Yeah,
I'm always
namaste. Thank you so much for being here.
pleasure. Thank you for asking me. Thanks for inviting.
Thank you. And I'm so grateful and excited that you're joining Yoga Gives Back Ambassador. So, first of all, how did you decide to join us?
Well, we have a mutual friend, Michelle El Kure, who I met in Dubai about 7 years ago when I was teaching prenatal training over there. And I knew of you anyway. I knew of Yoga Gives Back. You've been around for so long. Yoga journey. So, and she recently connected you and I. So, yeah, that's kind of how we ended up here. But I've been subscribed to your emails and watching what you've been doing for a really long time. So I was very excited to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for joining. Somebody's joining from Dubai.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, so I'm grateful that Michelle connected us, and Michelle Corey is our ambassador who also went to India with me last month and shared our trip.
Yeah, that looks
So
epic.
yeah, then she talked very highly of you, and I'm so grateful you're joining us. And just as a quick introduction, so you've studied yoga since 1998 or around 2000. So it's been over 20 years of journey with Paul Dallahan and Sri Tiwari, Patabi Joyce, so on. But with your experience of teaching, especially female students, you really realize the importance of how asana and pranayama, when they're bespoken to their women's needs, it makes much more effective practice, right? So how did it come about, and where are you today?
Well, it's been quite a long journey, a little bumpy sometimes. So because I was from a very strong fitness background. My degree is sports science, so I was always doing sports, etc. Well, from my late teens, I was always doing sports, but I'm very extreme when I do something. So I would, have maybe do like a great 10-mile run and then be exhausted and either feeling really great or not so great. And then it wasn't until, and then I fell in love with Ashtanga. It was like a complete love affair. I unfortunately hurt my back, not necessarily because of Ashtanga. I also had a car accident.
Oh,
So the practice didn't, well, maybe the way I went about the practice, which is all or nothing, because Ashtanga is a beautiful practice, it started to not suit my spine, and I got a herniated disc. So I started to explore other avenues, and then I discovered a teacher called who I'm sure you're aware of, Uma Dinsmore-Tooley, and I went to one of her trainings, a 6-day training, and it just I'd never been taught to practice so much around menstrual cycle and being given that permission to rest when you need to, and honoring postnatal times in life and menopause as well. I'm on my way there now. I wasn't there then, but so it was just a new way of thinking. And I'm aware, I really enjoyed Iyengar yoga too. That really helped heal a few injuries that I had, along with Ashtanga. So, I enjoyed that practice too. And I know those schools of yoga, we do work around the menstrual cycle. So, I know a lot of practices do, but with the training with Uma in particular, I really felt honored that time. And I just learned to practice a little more with the waves of energy that us women get, the up and the down, and it was very new to me. It was very new to me. I used to feel very guilty resting. I've actually just done a yoga nidra before this. As it's school holidays, so I was really tired because I've had 5 children here today. So you know, and being able to rest without feeling guilty, it was really profound actually. So it's been a very long journey. I absolutely loved my time as an Ashtangi, and sometimes a friend of mine and we still practice together a little Ashtanga here and there, but I mix it up a bit more now, and I love it. I can't imagine life without yoga. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's amazing that you really expanded your journey, your paths of yoga into different teachers, different branches, and sounds like you kind of created your own way of sharing it with, especially with female students. But was this happening around the time you have 2 daughters, right? How old are they?
Yeah, they are 9 and 5.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and I've been a single mum for 5 years. So
Wow.
it's been a lot, but I laugh whenever someone mentions them because they're so funny. So I just sent them off now with a friend. Yeah, so they're very lively little girls. And my older one is Water. She's very emotional, very sensitive, and my other one's got a lot of fire energy in her. So she's very focused, very determined little girl. So they're very different. They've got the sun and the moon. So they are. I don't know which style of yoga they will end up doing, but my little one probably Ashtanga.
Sounds like it.
Actually, my older one probably more yin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're very funny. So I have these little women in my house all the time that are just hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, you mentioned that thanks for sharing that you've been a single mom for 5 years with 2 young girls. That's a lot, right? So would you share personally how yoga has helped you, like, you know, asana, meditation, pranayama, whatever, or any philosophical sense? If you can share with an audience, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Well, the yoga's helped me not have a breakdown because that's been close sometimes because there's been 3 bereavements too, mother, uncle, and stepfather in close proximity. 2 of those, one was in the pandemic. So yeah,
Wow.
so there's been, you know, birth, death, and then another death. Yeah. So there's been a lot. So those life events have actually, even more than yoga, helped me be present because I could only handle being present. If you think about what you've got, if you keep thinking about what you've got to deal with and what you've got coming up, it just starts to get too much. So the softer side of yoga, the yoga nidras in particular, have really helped me remain present. Of course, you have days where you can't achieve it, but that's kind of my practice now. I just think, okay, what have I got to do today? Whereas I used to sit there and feel this anxiety build, thinking about the week ahead. Now I'm like, okay, the day, that's really all I can cope with, while keeping these 2 little girls happy and safe. And then, of course, we've all been through the pandemic too. So yeah, all that together, the single motherhood and bereavements, etc., that interwoven with yoga has been quite a challenge, quite an adventure. But to be honest, now I'm on the other side of it and my girls are becoming a little more independent. You know, I can just leave them to play now while I do a little work and things like that. I just feel like I could manage anything really, not in an arrogant way, but just in a I kind of got that. The positive of it is I've got that inner confidence to okay, whatever comes, we'll cope together. And there's always a yoga practice, because I've practiced all different sorts of yoga. There's always a practice somewhere that I could pick, and it would assist me in, you know, carrying on.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, you should be so proud of what you have gone through the last 5 years.
Oh, thank you.
And yes, sustained yourself and your family life. And that's amazing. Somebody from Dubai said, you know, please share, because so many people are suffering from depression and anxiety.
Whoa.
Do you have any advice?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I think it's a very personal journey. I think wow, that's a really big question. Okay, I had medication for a while, which helped me get through a very rough part, because postnatally, second time I discovered I actually had 3 herniated discs in my back. So I was in a lot of an awful pain whilst trying to breastfeed and look after, keep my other one not neglected and all this. So so there was a lot there. So medication for a while, I'm not saying everyone should take medication, but for me it really helped for about a year, until it didn't help. and then I came off the medication, and then I felt ready to delve back into the yoga. I didn't get on my yoga mat for quite a while, for about a year, because it was just too much.
Yeah.
Because we all know what yoga can bring up. You have to be very courageous, as you know, to be a yogi, because everything's in your face. You know, as soon as I just practiced Ustrasana recently, and for a day I had stuff coming up right in my face that I had to deal with. So you know, it just really opened up a Pandora's box. But you have to, in my experience, you have to have in that moment the capacity and headspace to be able to deal with it. So I think timing is key. If you're having a day where everything just feels too much, just lie down or go for a walk or a swim. It doesn't have to be the yoga, but just do something that's going to help you on a physical and therefore energetic level. If if someone needs medication, go for it. But then they're all very different, and people respond very differently. I had some that didn't help me at all, and some that then I found one that helped me for a year, until I just felt I didn't need it anymore. And then I was back to all of a sudden just back to daily practice. So I think we can really beat ourselves up when we don't feel well, especially women, when we don't feel well mentally. But if you actually look at how, especially the Western society is currently for women, no wonder we feel overwhelmed and stressed and depressed. We're trying to do everything. And it's not, for me, motherhood's, I've been on my own a lot, and it's not right, really. You know, it takes a lot of people to bring up children and keep a business going. And so I think we need to be kind to ourselves, in that actually, it's kind of no wonder we feel like that when you actually look at the bigger picture. And if there's some help you can take, whether it's medical or holistic or just asking some friends for help, just go for it. No one will feel any less of you. And actually, there's probably quite a lot of people out there that actually want to help you, given the opportunity. So now, if someone offers me help now, I'll take it. I don't need to be asked twice. First baby, I was like, no, I can do it all on my own. Second baby, I was like, I'll take whatever help I can get, because there's nothing wrong with it. And people often they do want to help. But I think there's a lot of hangover anxiety from the pandemic. People are still finding their feet, especially if they've lost their businesses or lost loved ones. Some of us are still finding a new way of being, but there's no guidance out there on how to do it. And also, it's a very individual and personal thing, so it can just take time. And I think that's the thing as well. In Western society, often we expect to just snap back into, pandemic's over, and actually it's not, because there's still COVID around, but it's over, let's get back to normal. But that normal's gone now, so we've got to re-find our feet and find possibly a new focus, if, like I said, if we've lost businesses or loved ones. But it could take years for people, but that's okay. I think people need to know and be informed that it can take a long time. After my mother passed, it took me about 5 years. That was 8 years ago, that one. But about 5 years to figure out how to move forwards. And other people, it might take 1 year, but everyone's different. And
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's very important message. And also what you said earlier about don't get overwhelmed thinking about the future, but just focus on the moment. And if we can just get by the present moment, I think that's okay. I think that's a very good message too.
Same. And it's a daily practice, isn't it? It's a daily practice to stay present as well. I don't always achieve it, and especially in our culture too. We're always thinking what's coming, what's achievements. It's always about achievements, isn't it? And it's but actually just staying alive and keeping yourself well is a massive achievement.
Well, I'm just amazed how much energy you have and how productive you are, being the mother of two and teaching and all these things. And talking about the future, you're also joining us in our International Women's Day celebration March 4th, when we have really pioneering one-of-a-kind session called Yoga and Menstrual Equity. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a complete surprise to be invited to that. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I don't know the other women. I've met Harmony before. I haven't met the other women yet, so I'm really looking forward to getting to know them. They you know, from the communications we've had, everyone seems very knowledgeable and in their power.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I can't wait. This is a very powerful lineup of women, and the two ladies are coming from India too, so I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, somebody again asking, we are social animal, we are living in society, we can't live in forest, but at the same time there are so many conflicts in society. How we live our life happily and peacefully? That's a good question, especially like time like today.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, little self-care things I do. I always have a time of day when my phone goes on airplane mode. I don't tend to answer messages after about 7 p.m. because I'm very workaholic, so I get into work mode again and then I won't sleep. So that's just personally what works for me. I make sure I have a time where I can cook a meal from scratch every day. My kids don't eat don't eat very well. They don't like vegetables, so I really struggle with that. But for me, I cook something from scratch every day.
That's great.
Yeah, and just make sure I move every day. And when I've done that, I feel I can live a bit more peacefully. So I do think it helps everyone to have just a few boundaries in place, even if it's just you get up half hour earlier before your family and have half hour on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 or 2 boundaries in place, it's a little easier to put more in. And it's that older saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. It's so true.
Yeah.
Women as well, and I know men as well, but I do feel in particular there's an awful lot expected of us, and because we do it all the time, hold the space for family or businesses or ourselves, or maybe older relatives, or you know, brothers and sisters, maybe caring for them too. It's because we always do it, people don't necessarily notice what it takes to do it.
Yeah.
So don't wait to be told to rest or put these boundaries in. You have to just really own it and do it yourself. That's my experience of it anyway. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you start to feel a little more empowered. Again, is my experience of that, just feeling a bit more empowered to manage the day and manage people and yeah, and sometimes there's no escape from having to deal with people that their behavior is a bit more challenging, especially if you're related to them. So I find with that scenario, I will limit that contact. I'm trying to be really particular with my wording so no one gets offended, but just putting boundaries and maybe limiting time with certain people as well, because it's, you know, there's this whole new self-care movement, just cut ties with people. I see it a lot on Instagram and stuff, but that's not always possible. It's not realistic, you know. Before you know it, you're completely on your own. So I don't think that's particularly helpful, or ghosting people, all that kind of jazz. I'm not into that. So just a few boundaries, limit time with certain people that you find very challenging to be around. Make sure you have a little time on your own, even if it's just sitting I did this in the pandemic, just half hour a day, just sitting in a dark room with no stimulation whatsoever. I found that very helpful.
Wow.
I don't feel I need to do that anymore, but at that time I found it extremely helpful. I felt like everything was coming at me. Wow. They're just little things I do, and just make sure you get a little fresh air. Also be careful what you take in. So social media, you know, films, music, etc. When you actually put that all together, that just the usual stuff that's put out there, it's really quite toxic when you actually look at the imagery and the wording, and it might not be you're consciously connecting, but it will go into subconscious. So, and I find I can start to go on a downward spiral if I'm on social media too much. So I actually, when I'm working on social media, I actually have a timer. So I don't do more than 1 hour at a time, and I'm out. You know, my alarm, because the time goes so quickly because you go to habit warrens, right? And, you know, it's been proven time and time again that social media does increase anxiety and depression. And that's what the business of social media thrives on. Of course, it has its uses. Like now, we wouldn't be able to connect like this otherwise.
Yeah.
But it's you use it rather than it uses you.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Well, yeah, we have to really be in charge, not to be, you know, taken advantage of. Yeah, thanks so much. So Sally, I so look forward to talking to you again on March 4th, but are there any other like projects or events you would like to share with the global audience that you're organizing?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I've got my women's yoga trainings just ongoing. So that's what I do full time. So my pre and postnatal programs, I have them in person and online. Anyone's welcome to come, male and female. And then I have a brand new training, menopause yoga, which I'll be going over to the States this summer to teach at Michelle's studio at Yoga Masia. And I also offer that online as well, so anyone can connect with me anywhere. So just be pushing forwards on the women's yoga training. I'm just finishing up a 200-hour. That's been a 7-month training. That's going to be my last one for the foreseeable future, so I can really focus on the women's trainings and just keep pushing through with that and trying not to think too far ahead.
Yeah.
So I don't get lost.
That's really fantastic. Michelle told me that you're coming to the US, so anybody who's interested in learning with Sally, she offers so many courses that really caters for women's change of bodies, menstrual cycles, prenatal, postnatal, menopause. I wish I had known you back then, but I'm way post menopause. But I think these are very important things, and we're going to talk more about this menstrual cycle and how to honor our bodies and, you know, be aware of a lot of things that we may not know what's going on inside on March 4th with other global ambassadors. So thank you so much, Sally, for taking the time. I know you're very, very busy. So please take care of yourself.
Yeah, and you. Thank you. Thanks for talking with me. And I feel free to, I've got a feeling I tuned in on my other, it's very small, I have a small Instagram account, which I literally just started. I have a feeling I came in on that. My main account is, I was in a little rush because I just sent my children off so I could do this. My main account is Sally Parkes Women's Yoga. Right. That's my main one where I post most of my stuff. So this is a one I have for an online platform, but yeah.
So if anybody who is listening in, I'll put this out later as IGTV also, Sally Parkes Women's Yoga.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, okay. And then you can see there's a lot of programs on the link tree. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that. And I look forward to working together to make more impact in India and help women and children there.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thanks so much, Sally, and thanks everyone.
Okay.
Bye. Take care.
And you.